Hey, in today's video we'll be making this beautiful shape in Figma with a little help from generative. So let me delete all this, re-enable the UI, and we can start. Now the main ingredient in this kind of picture is going to be the noise node. Let's look at how that works in a little bit of detail. So over here in the tutorials and examples, in sets I have noise. And over here you see what it does. So noise, unlike random, has a scale parameter. And you can think of noise as basically a slow random. So if I set the scale to 1, you can see that it's basically a random. And every time the loop asks it for a new value, it gives it a new value. Now let me set this to 1.0 and slowly increase the scale so that you can see what it does. So there you go, it's a slow random. Now there's another parameter here called offset, and what that does is it allows you to slowly walk that slow noise. So as you can see, the noise is just slowly moving to the left. And what that lets you do is it lets you take those points on the circle and move them randomly but slowly. So let's see how that works in practice. Over here I have my point circle template, which is a lot easier to drag out than to create it from scratch, although that also is not hard. The only thing is, for some reason, it's missing a point. So I'm gonna add it like so. Select this, and then say save as template. And I'll just save it again as point circle. So that should have updated it. Let me just check. If I go here to point circle, I drag it out, it indeed has the point present. And so now I have a ready-made circle path with the points that create it. In my case, I think that's too many points, so I'm going to change it to, let's say 4 for now. I will make the circle much larger, so it'll have a radius of like 400. There we go. And I now want to randomize the radius, but I'm going to do that not with a random, but with a noise. I'll plug that into the X. I will set it to, let's say, from minus 400 to plus 400. And let me give it a stroke. There you go. And now all I need to do is repeat it some number of times. Okay, so I can even repeat it, let's say like 20 times. Now I'm repeating this curve, but every time the points are indeed random. So what I need to do is slow it down by increasing the scale. So let me increase the scale to something like, let's say 10. We'll see how that works. But that's not it, because now I also need to combine these and link them both to the repeat. So I want to link both of these to this repeat, just to make sure that all the points stay the way they are. Now, right now, all the curves are there, but they're in the same place. And that is because we need to use the offset and change that slowly. So this is where we use a sequence. I'll start from 0.0 and I'll add 0.1 every time, for example. And I'll just plug that into the offset. That seems like too much. So let me try 0.01. And that is now a lot closer to the kind of effect we're looking for. So let me go 0.001. That's a little too close, but now we can play around with it. Oof. But actually, why oof? Let's try this. So let's increase the number of lines, first of all. Let's set the number of lines to 100. This is going to be slower, obviously, but the effect will be more interesting. Okay, so let me randomize this to see what else I can get from the 4 points. Obviously, at this point, we need to start changing it. I feel like the noise scale is a little bit too large, so it's not changing as fast as it could. Let's have it. There we go. So some more Shift R. The other thing that we might want to do is set the opacity to something like 50%, and then set the blend mode to our old friend plus lighter. And now if I randomize the color a little bit, let's see what we can get. All right, let me increase the saturation. Maybe that's too much. And also, I'm a little tired of making orange stuff. Let me make something blue. All right. Let me also increase the weight of the stroke. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, but this is still very smooth. I think we need to reduce the noise scale. Let's try like 2. The offset will still be moving it along. It's just that it might be moving it a little bit faster. All right. This is what I'm talking about. This is now a lot more interesting. So let me do some more randomizing. Let me hide the UI so we can see more of what's going on. Let's do this. I like the other one where it was like an ice mountain. What if I increase the number of points from 4 to 6? What if I also put a sequence on the hue, and I will put a random on the start of the sequence? So we will randomize that from 0 to 360. That'll be the start. And then every time I will add something like 0.1. And let's see how that works. So now this is changing all the time because it's getting pulled too many times. I'm just going to try to fix this by putting a cache after this random. Yep. Because I actually want a random value, but I want it to happen only once for the whole graph. So I just cache it and then I forget about it. And then this needs to be linked to this loop and increase the hue every time. It may actually be increasing it too little. That's why we don't see anything. Let's see what the looping does. So maybe this is too small of a step. Let me try 1. This wire doesn't hurt, it just shows where the loop is. Right, so that's what I was trying to do. So now let's run, actually I like these colors a lot. Let me try randomizing just the noise here and leave the colors alone. Let's just randomize everything. And maybe to make it a little bit more contrasty, because this is very uniform in a way, I'm going to reduce the opacity even more to something like 20. Still very smooth. Let me try 12 points. That might be a little crazy though. That kind of looks like an apple. There we go. So I think I'm going to stop here. This is pretty interesting as a result. As always, if you like the work that I'm doing and you'd like to support me, the best way to do that is to buy a generator subscription. It's less than $1 a day and it'll help me keep making all the cool stuff that I'm making. Thanks for watching.